to everyone. What an introduction. I was not really, when they said a bio, I was not expecting it to be read, but the honor is all mine. I'm grateful to be sharing such a platform with thought leaders and young people in general in business and young people from the construction sector and the built environment sector in general and the sector of technology in general. As introduced, my name is Nontsikelelo Makuala indeed, and I'm grateful for such an opportunity that has presented itself. And once again, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the CEO of the NYDA for not being here. He would have loved to be here to join this session as a person that is very passionate about youth development and is for youth development. I would firstly like to send my greetings to the President. Thank you for the introduction, sir. Mr. Denny Masinene, the Chairperson, the CEO, all officials from the Council, the young people that are joining us today on this very same platform. I am honored to be here and to speak to you. When they said to me that I will be speaking on behalf of the NYDA and ultimately be filling in shoes of a great man, the CEO, I didn't know where to start in terms of speaking, but then I remembered what he would have said. He would have said that the platform that we're given is to talk to young people about opportunities and to have a conversation with young people about what is out there and what they can do with those opportunities. And that's what I'm simply here to deliver today. And I hope that I will deliver it to the best of my abilities and as expected. We are joined this month under a theme of the year of celebrating Mam Charlotte Maxeke. We're celebrating Youth Month in the year of Charlotte Maxeke. It's the manner, it's just reminding the youth of their role in society, which is what she would have done if she would have been here today. That young people should have a significant role in society and they have a role to play in our society. In preparation for this session, I have prepared a presentation. Hopefully, it won't be too long, and I've been given 25 minutes to speak to a topic, opportunities for young people in the built environment and alternative technology space. Allow me to start sharing the presentation so that I can take you through it. Okay, so as mentioned, we have been requested to speak on opportunities for young people in the built environment space. But firstly, before I go into the presentation itself, I would like to take you through what is the NYDA and what we are about. So the NYDA was established in 2009. It's a merger between Umsobovu Youth Fund and the National Youth Commission. The agency's mandate, we derive our mandate obviously from the Act of 54, 2008. Also from the National Youth Policy, you know that it has been recently revised and adopted to 2020 to 2030 youth policy. We also derive our mandate from the Integrated Youth Development Strategy, amongst the other things. Just briefly, the focus areas of the National Youth Development Agency is economic development, amongst other things, entrepreneurship. Within the economic development, we have non-financial and financial funding aspects that we focus into, that I will speak to later in my presentation. Our other area of focus as the NYDA is decent employment through the jobs program. So we've got a placement program that we run as the NYDA. This we do in partnership with various stakeholders in the space of employment, private sector, and government, and also civil society structures that are interested in placement of young people. We also play a role in terms of social cohesion, pathway for economic participation through the coordination of the National Youth Service. Here we are trying to really inculcate a culture of patriotism amongst young people, empowering them with skills, whilst also encouraging them to serve their communities. Or we engage young people that are interested in serving their communities with their skills and also with their time. We also have universal access for vulnerable youth. These are through the branches that we have across the country, place kiosks in municipalities for easy accessibility of information for young people across the country. We also contribute in terms of research to inform policy development for the youth in this country. As mentioned, the NYDA exists across the country, and we've got 33 offices out of the 54 districts that we have. Allow me to speak briefly on the status of youth in the country right now. I think in the message of support, Speaker mentioned the alarming numbers of the rates of unemployment in the country, in particular faced by young people. I thought let's look at a glimpse of, let's have a glimpse of, the state of the kind of young people that we have in the country. Obviously, the rate, we all know it, between 63% and 41%. Well, this is a looked definition of youth. You will see 15 to 24 and 25 to 34 respectively. But what is more interesting from this is really the NEET group, what we call the NEET group. These are young people that are not in employment, not in training, not in education. Stats SA reports that 32.4% out of the 10 million young people are unemployed, not in education, they are not in training. Surely this calls for a collective solution as a country in all sectors of society to look at solutions that can better assist these young people. Now, let's look at this industry that we are here about today and to discuss. We all know that the president in his address early this year announced a development of an infrastructure investment, which is worth 340 billion in the network industry, such as energy, water, and transport and telecoms. Now, what does this mean? Let's firstly look at the impact, obviously, that the COVID pandemic had on this industry alone. So between March and December 2020, you would see that there was a decline in terms of the number of people who are employed in this industry. Obviously, the industry could not sustain the jobs because there were no opportunities available in the sector, hence the decline. The decline was looked at or set at 15.2% from the jobs that were existing before. Now, this is a challenge, but obviously because of this fund or the projects that are being rolled out, the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure now in June was to outline an implementation plan and a project rollout for all these projects that were announced by the president in the beginning of the year. Obviously, within the public works sector, up to 100 billion. The rest are in the other sectors, as mentioned, transport, telecommunication. But I thought we should just look at maybe the problematic areas in which bring about emissions based on the state of the Green Technologies report as provided. Might be a report that was drafted some time back, but it is still relevant to what is happening in the country today. So in the manufacturing sector, see that the emissions sitting at 50%, the transport at 15%, and other sectors at 31%, obviously the energy at just 4%. Before I go into the opportunities, sectors that we would look at in the technology, alternative technology space would be, how do we work around housing being the core sector in the country that we are currently trying to address in terms of the biggest projects that are being rolled out. The transport sector, solar, and waste management. Those are some of the things that I thought we just need to ponder on and think about as presented by the different, reports. The opportunities that when we looked at the research, we found out that in terms of the built construction or environment, there's quite a number of construction of houses, road and other infrastructure projects, the roll-off of economic zones, that young people can benefit from. In terms of the alternative technology, the grid scale storage, compressorless air conditioning and electronic windows, clean coal, which is something that in the renewable energy we have been looking into as government, or critically looking into as government for alternatives. Obviously, as you know, recently the president spoke to the alternatives in terms of generating electricity. Biofuels and electrofuels, 3D printing and remote manufacturing, online electric vehicles. We know that recently, or last year, the cars that can be charged using electricity had arrived. We are already in this phase. Recycling of material in terms of ensuring that things that we do are economic, environmental friendly. Now, what do these opportunities that are presented by government mean? So the investment made by government will seem to generate 138 billion in terms of the GDP in the first year. This is projected from 2021 to 2023. In terms of employment, over the 3-year period, the investment will on average support about 4,695 jobs per year. So if you multiply that by 3, obviously you're looking at roughly close to 15,000 jobs being supported. Going back to some of the solutions that were brought about by government, linking to this infrastructure development plan as tabled by the president. We have what is called the Pathway Management Network. The Pathway Management Network was brought about government realizing that young people are not in employment, are not in training. They need to be employed, and they need to be employed now. And we need more or less a solution that addresses all these aspects, because not all young people can be self-employed, not all young people can go for training. We need other different types of training. So the pathway then takes young people through this, the 5 priority interventions that, or rather it introduces young people to the 5 priority interventions that as proposed and being implemented, currently being implemented by government and in different government institutions. So one obviously is a workforce solutions for growing jobs in the country. Tech-enabled youth self-employment and township enterprise. It speaks to more on the 4IR. Young people should be able to use technology to their own advantage and best of their abilities in terms of ensuring that they are able to have emails. For example, you would find that in rural areas, when you engage a young person, you find that they don't even have an email. They don't know their way around something that some of us will think it's it's easy, such as managing a laptop and all of that. So in this area, some of the key partnerships with your Microsoft come in they come in as a very critical stakeholder to assist in training young people and NPOs in rural areas with basic skills to empower, for them to be empowered. There's workplace-based experience, which is what we know as internships, learnerships, which becomes crucial because young people have been complaining that most jobs in the country require experience. And how do we get them to be experienced? By exposing them to such opportunities. And the Department of Labor becomes very critical in this aspect. And ourselves as the NYDA and the CETAs as well. The last intervention being the National Youth Service, which I've spoken about, inculcating a sense of patriotism amongst young people and encouraging them to participate and assist in their communities, using their skills and their time, whilst also getting training and experience. For example, if a young person in agriculture has graduated in the field of agriculture without any experience, they can volunteer in their communities doing gardens. In them doing that, they can recruit other young people to transfer the skills to young people in the community. We in turn then address the issue of food security within the community. Such programs are the programs that are being implemented under that intervention, obviously through partnerships. I've been requested to speak a bit about the SA Youth Platform as well, which presents an opportunity to young people to access opportunities that will be listed by opportunity providers and different stakeholders across all sectors. The idea is that a young person enters the system and access employment opportunities, which is at a zero-free rate, which means it deals with the issue of young people not having data. So young people are encouraged to access the platform and register on the platform for work seekers to be able to find them. And vice versa, young people are encouraged to go into the platform to check available opportunities. So this platform obviously was launched on the 16th of June and will be available for young people to access opportunities. More opportunities will be loaded in the platform as time goes on. This is just an illustration of how it works as I've spoken to it, that you join the network, you build a profile, you engage in content to upskill yourselves, you load a profile which is used to best match you with available opportunities that are suitable for, or that match your profile rather. So this would be economy jobs, formal and informal jobs that will be loaded there. stipend work. This speaks to more in the volunteerism space, learnerships, part-time jobs, and learning and any other learning opportunities. So it is a great platform for young people to be exposed to. So just let me go back to the NYDA itself and how we've come so far as the institution. So over the last 5 years, we've trained over 100,000 entrepreneurs. We've funded 3,500 youth-owned enterprises, disbursing 183 million in the development finance space. Well, this has in turn created 15,000 sustainable jobs. We've obviously participated in different sectors as listed there, in the arts, tourism, agriculture, construction, the services, construction, and the retail. Let me explain a bit the value chain of the NYDA entrepreneurship. So there will be an awareness that is created, obviously, through such platforms, and young people will then be interested. We do a needs analysis. In terms of doing the needs analysis, we find out whether this young person is ready for which kind of funding. Is it through our own grant funding process, because we work with other departments and other organizations that we usually redirect the young people to. Because mostly in NYDA, we deal with startups because of the funding that we have, which is up to 100,000 grant. And then 250,000 would be for cooperatives. I've noted, Program Director, that I'm taking more time. I'm going to wrap up soon. Then the business development aspect of the services covers your business plan. These are your non-financial services that we offer. We do an assessment as well, whether the young person can be able to access such an opportunity. We evaluate and see if then the young person is ready to get a grant. We also do aftercare and monitoring and evaluation of the businesses. Obviously, if these young people do not fall in within our value chain, we make recommendations for them to apply for funding through IDC, CFA, and so forth. I think this I've explained in the previous slide. I think maybe I should touch a bit on the threshold as expressed. Those are the thresholds that we have. We fund cooperatives up to 250,000. And sorry, again, the threshold for young people who employ more than 5 people in the business, it's between 100 and 200,000. There's a grant that should not be paid back, but we do due diligence to assess the company to see if they meet all the criteria. So in closing, Program Director and everyone present here, according to the South African Forum for Civil Engineering Contractors, infrastructure investment is a critical driver of future growth of the South African economy. The provision of superior quality infrastructure allows an economy to be more efficient and improves productivity, raises long-term growth and living standard. South Africa requires the right kind of infrastructure investment that will not only contribute to the higher long-term growth, but should address the spatial disparities, transform the economy, and create much needed jobs. In closing, I'm urging everyone present here and the young people listening that let us have our role in society. Let's play our role in society and contribute towards this year that requires us to be agile, that requires us to be responsive in terms of technology, 4IR, and meet and be ready for the opportunities that are presenting itself in terms of government that have been tabled by government in the construction space in general. Thank you once again. The opportunity for us to be here and present ourselves is much appreciated. Thank you, Program Director. Thank you, Mr. President, Chairperson, and the CEO.